If working more hours create more income, most exhausted people would already be wealthy. Instead, millions do everything right, work harder every year, and still feel financially stuck. That confusion is not a personal failure. It is a misunderstanding of how income actually increases. Income does not rise because effort increases. It rises when your work becomes harder to replace. Once you see this mechanism clearly, you stop chasing hours, motivation, and hustle, and start repositioning yourself. This video explains exactly how income grows without hype, shortcuts, or motivational noise. The common advice. Most advice about increasing income sounds reasonable, but quietly fails in real life. You are told to work harder, add more hours, and prove dedication. When that plateaus, you are told to learn more skills and certifications. If that still fails, you are told to make more responsibility without guaranteed pay. All of this increases effort, but none of it changes how replaceable your work is. Effort scales linearly, which means income hits a ceiling fast. Skills help, but only when they change your position, not just your workload. Extra responsibility often benefits the system before it benefits you. The result is exhaustion, not leverage, and progress that feels invisible. This is why doing more rarely leads to earning more. Why income gets stuck? Income gets stuck because most work is priced by time, not by impact or leverage. When your output is predictable and repeatable, it becomes easy for systems to keep pay. Employers budget roles, not people, so compensation is constrained long before performance is fully recognized. As effort increases, returns diminish because additional hours rarely change decisions or outcomes materially significantly. This creates an invisible ceiling where effort accumulates, but income remains stubbornly flat over time. Replaceability is the hidden variable, because system protects stability before rewarding growth at scale consistently. If many people can produce similar results, competition pushes compensation toward the lowest acceptable level. Income rises slowly until your role affects risk, revenue, or critical decisions inside organizations directly. Before that point, effort is absorbed efficiently without requiring higher pay from employers, repeatedly, indefinitely. Understanding this explains why working harder often feels productive, yet financially unchanged for years alone. The core mechanism. Income grows when your work becomes harder to replace, not when you work harder daily. Most people focus on output, but system reward roles that reduce risk and uncertainty consistently. Tasks are replaceable, decisions are less replaceable, and outcomes are the hardest to substitute reliably. When you control decisions, others depend on your judgment, not just your execution speed alone. This shifts how value is calculated. Because uncertainty is expensive and predictability carries economic weight. Systems pay more to remove risk than to increase effort within stable processes already running. Effort fills capacity, but leverage changes ceiling by altering dependencies inside system over time significantly. When your absence creates delays, confusion, or costly decisions, income begins moving upward faster naturally. This is why income jumps suddenly, not gradually. Once work affects outcomes others cannot replace. The mechanism is simple, but uncomfortable. because it requires changing position, not increasing effort endlessly. Position determines leverage. Leverage determines income, and effort only matters after those conditions already exist. Once you understand this, income growth stops feeling mysterious and becomes structural, predictable, and controllable. The replaceability test. Ask one simple question to understand your income ceiling inside any job or role today. If you disappeared for 2 weeks, what would actually break without your involvement at work? If nothing breaks, your work is being absorbed smoothly by the system as designed today. If tasks slow down but decisions continue, your income will remain kept for now there. If decisions stall, revenue pause, or risk increases, income pressure immediately shifts upward inside organization. This test reveals whether you are paid for effort or for dependency within systems today. Systems pay more when removing you creates uncertainty, costs, or irreversible mistakes for others involved. When your absence is inconvenient but manageable, income growth remains slow and controlled by design. Replaceability determines bargaining power long before performance reviews or raises are discussed seriously internally anywhere. This is why many competent people feel invisible despite consistent high effort over long periods. The test is uncomfortable because it exposes structural limits, not motivational weakness inside roles today. Once you see this clearly, income stops being personal and becomes positional by design everywhere. 3 ways income actually increases. Income increases when you control something others cannot bypass without causing delays, loss, or failures. Bottlenecks exist everywhere, and whoever controls them gains leverage regardless of effort or seniority levels. The second path is reducing uncertainty, because unclear decisions are expensive for organizations over time. People who make reliable decisions remove risk, and systems pay to eliminate risk quickly, consistently. This usually appears as ownership over judgment, prioritization, or trade-off others avoid making daily internally. The third path is owning outcomes, not tasks, hours, or isolate responsibilities inside systems long-term. When you own outcomes, compensation ties to result instead of time spent working alone daily. This is why commissions, equity, and profit sharing scale income faster than salaries ever offered. These paths require repositioning, not hustle, and cannot be achieved overnight without structural change first. They feel slower initially, because effort feedback disappears before leverage becomes visible to most people. But once leverage exists, income growth accelerates without proportional increases in effort over time periods. This is how income actually increases, even when working hours stay exactly the same consistently. Why most people never get here? Most people never reach leverage because systems train compliance before awareness exists. School rewards following instruction accurately, not questioning structures or changing positions early. Jobs optimize reliability, predictability, and output rather than decisions ownership or risk. This creates safety, but also traps people inside narrow roles long term. Working harder is encouraged because it stabilizes system without redistributing power upward. Those two question structure often feel risky to promote or reward financially. Over time, people internalize effort as virtue, and view leverage as disloyalty. This keeps income growth slow, predictable, and aligned with system stability goals. Debate exists but is rarely explained because it benefits few people. Understanding this is usually accidental, not taught intentionally within most organizations today. More income never comes from doing more of what already replaces you easily. It comes from changing your positions until your absence creates cost, uncertainty, and delay. When work affects decisions, outcomes, and risk, incomes follow naturally. Once you see this mechanism, effort stops being confusing and starts being strategic.